Well, for those who don't know, I'm not very old, so I'm 33 this year, and I started Aikido very young. So I did my education, become a teacher, Aikido teacher, when I was in high school. So my last year of high school, I also had my diploma of being Aikido teacher. Teaching Aikido was very helpful for my profession. It was very helpful in the way that you learn more about groups dynamics, about how people see things or miss things, right? So you really learn how to cooperate with people who have some anxiety or have troubles with the movements and everything. So that was for me was an eye opener. Yeah, it's not the same. Yeah. Being consistent, you need to communicate that very well. Secondly, you should be able to make the class fun and dynamic. That's one of them, because the concentration goes up and down in a class very quickly. So you need to keep them triggered. You need to keep them, staying in the class, keeping the minds on the things you want them to focus on. And the third thing is you have to look on the social aspect as well. You have to make sure that you have a good connection with them, and also in the group, that they feel safe. So they feel safe in the techniques. So you don't do anything that harms the body, but also that they don't harm each other in physical but also emotional way. So I would like to say it has to do with two parts. One is a sensei who is really good on the mat and really inspires you technically. The first item that most people think of when they think about the sensei, right? So it's someone who really knows what he's talking about, someone who can help you to come better on the mat. For me, it has also to do with the second item. And that's, I think that's even more important, but that's just me. And that's the part that I think that there's a difference between teaching Aikido and being an Aikido teacher. So that means that the first one, you are showing technique. You're just presenting your vision, your idea of a technique. So in my opinion, anyone can do that, anyone. Because Aikido is very flexible. It's not good, it's not wrong. Of course, it's always better, but it's not. You don't have this black and white. But what makes a great teacher for me is if he also has like a coaching skill, so he understands the way people are learning, the way people acting, how they think, how they are also a little bit in life, just so it's not like a consult, or it's not your therapy, but it's more that someone can also push you, or you have a better understanding or getting more insight in your own personal development. There's just a few teachers who are willing to actually explore that area, who is actually becoming a good coach. I think, for example, if you look at the sports anyway, you have good players, but if you let a player teach, doesn't really mean you get other good players, right? It doesn't say anything. It can also be a good coach, but the coach is making sure that the team works and make sure that the team is growing and that the team is actually scoring the goal or whatever they're doing. Look very closely to what the teacher is doing. Really try to understand what the teacher is showing, and I don't mean again with the technical part, because I assume you already know that part, right? For example, if you are assisting the kids class, you already know the techniques, and the techniques are on a low level that they explained in a more safe way. So it's not complicated to understand the technical part, but it's about how you interact, why you're showing this technique and not another one. What is the how you build up the class, you know. So where do you start and where do you end? Is it the safety? What do you do to make sure that everybody is safe and also being seen, you know, so that they also know that you correct them if they need to. What do you do with people who don't feel safe? Um, all those questions, those are the things you want to look for as an assistant. You want to get an answer on how you, as a teacher who is standing in front of the group, who is handling in a certain way and why are you doing that way. So you start to understand more about, I would say, the profession of the teaching, but more about, you know, what does it mean to teach, and what do you have to think of if you are teaching, because you're trying to not teach just techniques. You're trying to teach like a team, or you want to improve something. And to do that, you have a class. You know, you have again, you have a structure how you build up to this point that people start to improve themselves. So as assistants, watch closely. You know, watch what they're doing and try to assist and to give enough backup for the teacher. So you don't have to think about, you know, people sitting straight and paying attention in the class, or someone who's coming in late in the dojo, and then teach them how to do, you know, the bowing and sitting on side on the mat, you know, all those rules. It's two things, you know. So one, again, watch closely what you're doing so you understand more about its teaching, and the other side is try to really back up the teacher in the meanwhile. So don't do one more than the other, just keep doing both. That's my advice. To be honest, I don't really have a favorite technique for children. The only thing is that I have favorite uh, way of explaining, in a way that I like it when I do a lot of interaction. So I just keep firing answer or questions, you know. So they need to assist me when I'm teaching, or they need to tell me the right answers on the questions. So that's just a way of how I teach, or um, the you know, the form that I use to make them practice. That defines me if I like the technique or not. Um, Actually, we decided, I think now 2.5 years ago, that we changed our examination system. We also have more skills that they have to learn, or at least show at the exam. That's helpful for them outside the mat. It happens in that way, but they feel that uh, they they're not afraid, you know. And for example, one of the things is that someone is lying on top of you, you know, or sitting on top of you, so you're already down, and things that we, you know, groundwork, it's something we don't really do in Aikido. And so I did judo for a long time, Edo as well, and so for us it felt like we are missing a little aspect, which is really good for the kids. Because in a fight, if there's a fight, I hope not, but if it is a fight, you also fall down. And the chance that you stand up, of course, is just as much as you stay down. And I think it's good for them that they know there are also options down. And it's not just standing Aikido, it's also movement and keeping yourself calm when you're down. To create a community, it takes a lot of time and energy. So it's not just one moment that you talk to a parent, or one moment that you invite them to an event. You should build on several occasions. You really need to um, uh, give inputs in different ways to shape it. So it's more of a journey than really just something that you can schedule in, you know, like now we do this and now we do that. And then I started Aikido very young, and if it wasn't for my parents, I probably wouldn't reach this level as I'm right now, right? I mean, we started just a very quick flashback. I started first with, for example, Tiché Sensei in Paris, and we were registered in his dojo. So we trained in a very early age in France or Germany or Belgium, you know, or other countries instead of our own. And you wouldn't be surprised, but if you are 12 years old, you don't have a driving license yet. So you're really depending on your parents. So the motivation of your parents really decide if you have enough power to continue in the things that you believe in. During all those years, you see a lot of great things with kids, you know, who are out of the blue, just ask for a high five, you know, small things until just surprise you by giving you a gift or doing a technique so well done that you think, wow, you know, this is amazing. There's so many things that happens all over the years and so many great things that it's very hard to pick one. We are really creating and focusing on the youth club. So I try to include them so they also understand how you should think and how you can build exam and how you know create on a larger scale, you know, what you're doing with the teaching. So that's why I asked him for this project. And so we are creating a new system for the youth club. So we are looking, you know, what is it that we can be very helpful for them, what kind of exams do we need to attach, you know, so what do we want to see, and also making sure that doesn't influence at the end, right? Because they still need to do a showdown test with Yamada Sensei, or they still need to show, you know, I wouldn't say the real Aikido, but in a certain way, right? The traditional way. But they cannot train in the traditional way because that doesn't fit, right? So we're working on that right now. That's something I do. And at the same time, I'm very more conscious about how energy works, how interaction with people and stuff like that. So that's more on a personal base that I'm creating and well, not thinking, but more on skill of feeling how technique influence the person, but why is it influencing if you're not looking in a technical way? First of all, I think it's good that we become more aware of the teaching. We'll think a little bit more about what you're doing. Think about you have a target group, you know, kids, adults, doesn't matter. But what are you? What is your relationship? What's your idea of building the community? How are you building the community? That's already a big improvement because well, luckily, I have also good friends who are doing different, but I see that the most teachers in Aikido are still working on the first item. You know, being a good teacher, try to give the right techniques to the students and to show them how to do it. Try to be a little bit an inspiration for them on the mat. And I hope, you know, it doesn't come easily for everyone, but I hope that also people start thinking about that teaching is more than just showing techniques, and that it's a development. It's something you have to investigate, and some people can do and some people don't. It doesn't really matter, but just know that if you want to become a good teacher and you want to build a community, it's more than just showing techniques, and you should also know that as you are a dojo show and you have other teachers, if you select them, try to think about, you know, not selecting them just so they're a good aikidoka, just select them also because they're a good person who can influence others in a positive way, and also try to give them more support in a way, not you doing a good job, but also try to teach them how to become a great teacher, you know, just teach them also the skills, the personal skills. And when people realize that this is a possibility and just investigate, just even it's just a small thing, just small step that you will make, it will change the course of Aikido. I'm sure of it.